Alright, what you see here is a Hampton Bay Gazebo Plus ceiling fan. This is a very rare version of it due to the finish it's in. It is in the Verde finish. Yes, you heard that correctly, it's in Verde. This is the one that's most sought after out of three of them by many collectors due to the finish it's in. They only sold it in this finish for 1 year, which was 2001. It also happens to be the first year they sold the Gazebo Plus, replacing the original Gazebo from the 90s. Well, one of the original ones. It was the more later version from the 90s that it replaced, which is basically the same thing as this, except it has a low profile light kit on it. That's really the only difference between them. But yeah, you definitely do see the 90s version of the Gazebo somewhat often without the light, but the Gazebo Plus in Verde is what's very, very hard to find. This one specifically is from May of 2001. And I gotta say, seeing it in person, I really wish they sold it in its finish a little bit longer, but it's understandable because at the time that this one came out, Verde was already starting to die out and such. But it's really a nice looking fan in this finish. Same year after the Verde year, that was the last year they sold it in that finish too. I think it's just a nicer finish to see out in an outdoor location versus a copper patina. If I was to choose one over the other, that's just my personal preference. So, but yeah, I got this fan off of Facebook Marketplace back in November of 2020. And it was actually in the same city that Mark Wilson lives in. It was originally for free. However, I offered the seller money for it if he can bring it inside. He had it outside on the curb with a free sign on it. Somebody decided to take the glass off of it and such. So this glass is not original to it. It's actually from the copper patina one, which actually has trouble fitting into this one. So I'm guessing they might have made the glass on the later ones, like the frame for it, a little bit bigger. I'm not too sure on that, but it's quite possible. But yeah, out of three of them, I feel like this is the nicest. I feel like this is the nicest looking one out of three. I do love the copper patina one, don't get me wrong, but just seeing the Verde one in person, I really do feel like I'd prefer this finish outside. However, since this is a more rare version, I wouldn't want to do it with this fan. Now, this fan was actually installed in a jacuzzi room of sorts in the house. So it wasn't installed outdoors, but it was installed in a very damp location. And because of that, there is some areas that are starting to rust a tiny bit, as you can see. I think that's about it. It's nothing severe. But compared to the two finishes being outside, I feel like the copper patina would hold up better in terms of like, if it was to start to rust up and such, I feel it would hold up better compared to this, which is the main reason why I wouldn't install this one outside. Plus, because it's a rare fan. Now, you could always just find a regular gazebo from the 90s in Verde and throw a light on it. However, the only issue you will have is that it won't have the second hole for the light because it's integrated into the switch housing. So that is the only issue you would have and such. Whereas this one, it has it already built in. But yeah, and also the pull chains are not original to it as well. These are just some replacement ones I got off of eBay. I figured let's get the ones that this would have came with just for display purposes. Now, it was installed on a download. However, I figured since I had the other two installed on flush mounted and such, I figured it'd be better to do it like that for this fan. Plus, the download got a little bit scuffed up and such, so yeah. But yeah, this fan is from May of 2001, so as of this year, it is already 20 years old. But yeah, it was like around the time that outdoor fans weren't really a huge concept like they are nowadays. Back then, there wasn't too many options for outdoor fans. The Gazebo was literally like the only outdoor fan Home Depot offered from Hampton Bay at the time. Nowadays, they actually have a lot more options, but back then, at least they had something that was at least nice looking and such. I mean, it's definitely looks like a builder fan and all of that, but it's at least a pleasant looking fan and such. But yeah. But out of the 3 Gazebo Pluses that I have, this one's the oldest. The white one that I have is from 2004 or 2000. It's either 2004 or 2005. I know one of the 2 white ones I have is from 2004. The 42-inch one I think is a little bit older than that one. Yeah, I think the 52-inch one, the white Gazebo Plus, is from 2005. No, 42-inch one is 2004, and the Copper Patina one I think is from 2005 or 2006, 2007, one of those 3 years, because the tags on the motor for the motor switch housing for the light and fan are different compared to this one and the white one. So that makes me believe that's a bit older. Though someone recently told me that that one was made by CEI, so I do need to take off the blade arms from it. And that might actually tell me how old that one is specifically. But by the time you see this, I'll probably already have that edited into the description of that one. But yeah, no, these have good lighting. Definitely not bad lighting for if you have it installed outdoors. Now there's obviously some other light kits you could put on an outdoor fan that looks more unique, I think, but I've always just liked the look of these low profile lights outside on an outdoor fan. Now this one, unfortunately, the rubber insulating part for the reverse switch has worn off. It was on it when I got it, but it was already ripped and it was starting to like fall apart, so I just ripped it off as much as I could. But yeah. Let's go ahead and start off on low. Now the blades are completely tightened. It's just, without any surprise, this fan being in a hot tub room, I'm guessing it wasn't run all the time. So I definitely let gravity be able to push the blades down over the years. But it runs well, without a question. I just gave it a very quick test on each speed just to see how it ran, to make sure the capacitor wasn't bad or anything. Can't tell if it has bearing noise like the Copper Patina one does, but we'll figure it out as this one runs more in the video. Well, yeah, as of this moment that I'm filming it, this is the only one that's being tested on YouTube as of right now. I know there's another collector that has one that he said he was going to sell it to me, but I ended up finding this one, so, and such. But there's videos of the version of it without the light kit on YouTube, but there's not a video of one of these being tested completely on YouTube. I know there's been a few videos of people at Habitat finding them there, but in terms of like an actual test video, this is actually the first one. But yeah, I'm glad I finally have all 3 versions of the Gazebo Plus in each finish. Now what I'd love to find is the Hampton Bay Lighthouse. I did see one on eBay, new in the box, but they were asking a little bit of a high price, almost retail price for it. And I kind of regret not getting it, but they're not extremely rare. They do show up here and there. And that is one I definitely would install outside without a question. It's the fan that it's basically the Gazebo Plus with like with Glossimer wind looking blades. I know Nathan, episode 120, did a video of one a few years back at a beach house or something like that in Florida. You know, it has a good low speed to it. It's moving decent air. I can feel a little breeze from it over here. And I will note that it is a bit hot down here today. It's raining out. Very lightly, just drizzling. So that's why you might hear a little bit of like splashing water in the background. But yeah, no, the thing's dead silent. And the pull chains on this one aren't so stiff like the other two that I have. But yeah, I can definitely see this in like a pool setting, a porch, kitchen, inside somewhere, in the house. Amusement parks, water parks. You name it, basically. Yeah, I've been recently trying to test the damp rated fans. Well, it's at least like somewhat, if it's either rained out earlier or while it's raining, because I feel like if I'm going to test something during those days, I might as well take advantage of this test an outdoor rated fan. That way I can still get something tested. I don't like to test resident indoor rated fans down here when it's raining up, because then it can cause them to warp and such through the humidity from that's seeping in from outside and such from that wooden board that's not sealing up the basement as much as it used to. I could seal it back up like it used to be, but then no outside air gets in here, so it gets really hot down here, worse than it already is. So at least it gives the basement a chance to get some fresh air from outside. All right, now I'm going to show it on medium. But yeah, like what I was saying is that the Cappuccino one doesn't have those speed and light stickers on it. It just has the logos of like a fan and light, not the actual words. That's what makes me believe that one's from like the late 2000s, like the mid to late 2000s. That is. That has to be from that one has to be at least from 2006, 2007-ish, I'd say. But yeah, I never realized it was actually a Verde one, because when I looked at it, the picture of it in the 2001 Home Depot catalog, it looked more like a black fan to me and such. I mean, compared to the, the Huntington 3 that they had in that catalog in Verde, and it's in that little small square that they showed some of the fans in a different finish. That one was clearly a Verde finish, whereas when I saw this one, I was like, wait, that's the same finish? But yeah, it is. Might just been the lighting that used for the stock image that made it just look a lot more darker or something. Because it looks more like a matte black Gazebo Plus in the catalogs. And in reality, it's really in Verde. I mean, even in person, it kind of does look a little bit blackish, in all honesty, like a grayish black or something like that. Or like a blue, like a gray, bluish black. Like if it wasn't for the lighting, it would definitely look more blackish. So could also be that the picture they used for the Verde Huntington 3, it might have had better lighting when they took the picture of that for the stock image and such. So that could be the other reason. But yeah, even though I could have gotten this fan for free, I'm glad that I actually paid the guy to hold it for me and literally buy it off of him, because these fans really do not show up that often, since they were only sold for 1 year. So I really didn't want to miss out again on getting one of these. Now, my ex-girlfriend, she had a Gazebo Plus in like her entryway, like a sunroom type entryway. And I'm pretty sure it was in this finish. I remember when I saw the light on it, it did not look like it was in a brownish finish. So I'm 99% sure it was in the Verde finish. That was the only fan at her house I did not get a video of, unfortunately. She had a carriage house 2 in her living room and a 42-inch bright brass low profile. And the carriage house 2 was also in polished brass as well. But I always regretted not being able to get a video of the gazebo. Because at the time it would have been the first video of a gazebo plus in Verde on YouTube. I'm not sure that fan's even there anymore. That was like 8 years ago when I filmed the video. And that was the first and only time I went to the house. And so, I mean, after we broke up, contact kind of just like became more distant. But we did go to the same university. She was 2 years ahead of me. But we kind of rekindled like our friendship a bit, but then we just kind of became distant again. So it's not that we weren't on good terms. It's just over time we just kind of grew apart again, friendship-wise, which happens. But that was, I think, the first and only time I've ever seen one of these in person. There was another girl I dated that a neighbor of hers in front had a Carpetina one out front, but it was missing the glass shade. And that fan was no longer there. That was taken out like a little bit after I broke up with her too. So, but yeah, this is the one I've always wanted to see in person as a kid, and I just never did because it was so rare. Like, this is a fan I wouldn't, like, if I had a large enough bathroom, this is something I would honestly install in a bathroom and such. Like, if I was watching off to fit a 52-inch fan, like, this would be my go-to for that. I mean, it's spent 20 years in a hot tub type room, so I mean, if it only got this rusted over these past 20 years, this is honestly nothing. But at the same time, it's not like you use a hot tub every single day, or every other day, like you do when it comes to taking a shower and such. But like, if I was to like have a place that had like a master bathroom that was at least large enough to fit a 52-inch fan and not super small, I would put this in there without a question. Especially because it has this matching light to it. So that right there already seals the deal and such. Alright, now to move it up to high speed. Out of 3 Gazebo Pluses I've tested on here, this one definitely seems to be the quietest one. Even the white one that I had that was basically brand new when Brandon got it, just didn't have the box. That one did make a little bit of humming noise, but it was mostly because of the glass and somewhat the mounting bracket. But this one, for some reason, doesn't have that issue. I am pretty sure that this was, from what I know, this one is made by Aircool. I'm not sure about the white one. I think that one was made by Aircool as well. I know the Carpetina one's made by CEI, however. But both this and the white one had the same type of motor where the such like the vents inside of the motor, and they also have that like cushiony padding for like the blades when you mount them so they don't scratch up the motor, where the Carpetina one doesn't. So that makes me believe that the white one's also an Aircool made version. But, you know, out of the 3 finishes, I can definitely say this is definitely my favorite finish out of the 3 of them. I feel like the Verde finish is a really good finish for like an outdoor looking fan. like my dad's log cabin, for example, his master bathroom, I could definitely like see this fitting in there. Or maybe not this, because the board and beam on it, it's kind of like, well, but like, in a bathroom as big as that, it definitely could fit in there and such. It's just where the beam is that you can mount it, it's just too close to the shower. And there's a wall where the shower is, so the blades would hit it. Smaller fan would definitely be able to fit in there, but you know, if I ever move into like a place that has a master bathroom that's decent size, this is what's going in there. And if the finish of the bathroom kind of doesn't go with this, I would try to make it work, or like try to find something that I could at least get the fan to match with it. Or that's painting the bathroom dark green or something like that. Or probably not dark green, but like a grayish green or something, who knows. Or even just tan. I mean, this definitely wouldn't look bad in a bathroom that has like tan walls and such. Yeah, no, it's definitely moving a very good amount of air, especially for something that's from the home center. I mean, it's definitely a good enough fan to have outdoors in terms of air movement, in my opinion. I just want to use this specific one because it's a very rare one. And with me putting in a bathroom, there's kind of a difference only because in a bathroom, it's not like it's out in the elements all day long, whereas if it was installed outdoors, it is. And such. It would only just be dealing with like humidity inside and like steam. But it's not like it'd be dealing with that 24/7 if it was installed outdoors. So that's why I want to put out this one outdoors, but I wouldn't mind doing it with the Carver Patina one. Because especially those ones are more common and such. If those are as rare as this, I definitely want to do it for those either. But yeah, I know a lot of people are definitely going to be happy to see this video, which I've been wanting to do a video of it for a while. It's just I didn't want to do it when it was cold out or cooler in this basement because of the plastic blades being heavier. I know it will definitely affect the air movement on this, or just how fast it goes. The other fans, they still want it just as fast, but with this one having plastic blades and such, I know it would definitely affect the performance on this one. You know, it's definitely the most quiet gazebo I've tested down here. Still need to test a 42-inch one in white, which will happen at some point. But no, it's definitely one of my favorite finds of last year. Yeah, I remember I picked it up right after work back when I was still working at Savers before I stopped working there. Right after my shift, I went over and picked it up. And still, it's definitely not a fan I regret getting, especially offering to pay for it. I really don't regret that at all, considering how long I've been wanting to find one of these in this finish. Especially you don't see these often at all. Especially with you see the ones with the leg hit from the 90s and such, but the Gazebo Plus, specifically, those really don't show up at all. spin down. And I'll wait for the fan to spin down completely, then I'll flip it on reverse. That's because I don't want to accidentally hit the blade on by mistake and affect the spin down. But yeah, just for those who don't really get how rare these are, there's the Graton, the Hampton Bay Graton that came out in 2001, the 1.5 version, as we like to call it. Now, really, it's actually the third version of the Graton. As recently we discovered there was another version of the Graton before that one that basically looks like an Ancon type spinner fan with the flat pretzel brackets, but some people are thinking that one's made by Aircool. But this is, like, for an example, like the Graton 1.5, yeah, there's a decent amount of videos of it on YouTube, but still a very hard fan to find. This fan is even more hard to find than that one. But I also feel like it's more so because this is a Verde fan, and it was at the time that Verde was really starting to go out. But what I find interesting is that a year or two before, they were selling the Huntington 2 in Verde, and that's actually a pretty common fan for something that's in Verde. However, this and the Huntington 3, you don't really see those at all. And the Huntington 2 in Verde was only around for like 2 years, but that along with the white one, I'd say, and the black one are probably the most common ones that you see. It's interesting how, like, just 1 year apart, the Verde finish kind of just like really died out. Like, it really just wasn't that much of a thing anymore. I mean, I remember there was a restaurant near me that's in the location where that Pizzeria Uno was at many years ago was, well, where it is now, but there used to be a different restaurant there that had 2 Newtone Verde Deluxes with walnut stencil blades, and in one room. I think it was a restaurant called Big Ford and such, and if you look it up on Google, you can kind of see it was like an entrance area, and then there's 2 separate rooms for dining. In one of the rooms, one of the Verde Deluxes got replaced by a Verde Huntington 3, but it just didn't have the light on it. And I know it was the Huntington 3 because it was installed in 2001. So, yeah. So, yeah, now to show it on reverse. I kind of wondered if they did sell the Verde fans a little bit longer going into 2000s, if they still would have sold decently. I know, like, design-wise, they were starting to go out, but there was still a lot of people who had them and such. And there was definitely, like, a lot of decorations that still had that look, or that people were buying even afterwards. But who knows? I mean, I feel like it would have worked only because around that time a lot of, like, weird looking stone finishes were coming out, and this Verde finish kind of has that look anyway, so that's why I feel like it would have worked if they, like, it still would have sold decently had they kept it around a little bit longer. And it's definitely a finish that doesn't really look too dated, in my opinion. Others might disagree, but compared to, like, white and brass or something like that, or antique brass, it definitely doesn't look that dated looking. Like, it definitely looks like something that came out of, like, at least the early 2000s or late 90s. But a finish that still kind of looks decent in certain settings. What I find interesting, though, is that when I tested the Verde Hunter C down here, it looked The Verde on both of those fans are basically identical, but for some reason the lighting made that fan look more brighter than this one. It looked a lot more like actual green versus the dark green that it really is. I mean, they're basically identical. They're not exactly the same, but they're pretty close. Probably just that the Hunter one has a little bit more greenish tint to it than a blackish tint. I mean, this one definitely almost looks the same of it now that I'm looking at it, but like in person, that one looked a lot more bright green with the light down here. Whereas this one looks more like regular Verde in person. But yeah, Verde's definitely always been one of my favorite finishes of all time. The finish, I think, really just works well with a lot of outdoor looking at places like, or like a lake house area, like just like a outdoor look in general. But yeah, no, it's definitely a very unique fan, especially with the finish it's in. It's not the highest quality fan without a question, but it's definitely one of the more, for a home center option back in the day, it definitely was a decent buy for the price it was at. Like back when Home Depot fans were actually, well, not all of them, but most of them were actually decent and not complete garbage like the majority of them are nowadays. They actually had some decent stuff that was almost comparable to some showroom stuff back in the day, and this is definitely one of them. In my opinion, not exactly showroom quality, but I mean, it sold very well, and it's not often I would see these having issues like some of the other home center fans from back in the day. But yeah, that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more videos to come.